Hello everybody, my name is of course Nick Dutch, and I'm talking now about a private message that I received with reference to a small spat which has been going on between myself and another particular YouTube user out there. This is in reference to a video I did about alien experiences. Now, I did that particular video because I wanted to apply the same, I suppose, experiential occultism ideology, which is part of what I am, which I've been promoting for many years, to a culturally different set of experiences, namely those of alien experiences. My ideas and my ideology, of course, is relatively simple, namely the strange experiences exist, but we can't say precisely what they mean. All we can say is that there are the experiences there, and that is potentially the foundation for legends and forms of theology which have developed over the period of time. Now, I received this email from the individual that I did my rather ranty video back to, and it's a rather long email, and I haven't had a chance to go through the whole thing, so I thought I'd go through it all now whilst I'm kind of like talking to you, okay? So you'll get a feeling as to my comments on this. My general impression about this particular email is it's an attempt to clear the air, and it's therefore something which I welcome, because having lots of people understanding each other and stuff it's got to be better than people being perpetually fighting each other and misrepresenting their own arguments. Okay, so here we go. It says here, I was going to make another video regarding your retort about my video, but I find a PM is more appropriate, and as at the moment I'm nowhere near home. Okay, fine. I believe we both derailed. It sounds like we were talking about two completely different things. In one point of your video I was agreeing with you. Yes, I'm admitting that I am somewhat to blame for this. Okay, thank you very much. Your apology there, which I think it is an apology, is very accepted, so that's cool. Between you and me, no problem. The manner that I make my videos or PMs is by starting at the very first thing we communicated. I saw your video, alien experiences are real. Then I message, what about mass hysteria or sleep paralysis as an excuse for aliens, question mark, question mark, question mark. To which you reply, namely, I replied, something with explanatory power does not necessarily prove anything. At best, mass hysteria or sleep paralysis is a hypothesis that is irrationally believed to be a fact by people who have bought into a certain cult interpretation of reality. I don't think my question was badly worded, but I could have put it in a different way. I was not implying, with my question or my video, that all these cases were either hysteria or sleep paralysis, schizophrenia, or that anyone that believes in the occult is a nutcase. Now I'm just going to stop you right there, because I got a very, very different impression from what you said, including a particular phrase which helped to sum up the energy, for want of a better phrase, of your video reply. And that phrase was, what century are you living in? Now, if I was to approach you after something that you'd said, and I'd said, what century do you think you're living in? You would probably understand that I would be not necessarily dealing with you in a manner that you would like to be dealt with, and I would be accusing you, or insinuating, that you are coming from a position of primitivism or ignorance. So I think you've got to be very careful about the words that you're using. And yes, I do think that in your video in particular, you were accusing anyone who has an interest in the occult or supernatural experiences or any of the rest of it of being a nutcase. The main message of your video, and I'll carry on with your private message shortly. The main message of your video was that all of this stuff can be explained through psychology, therefore the phenomena in the way that people understand it doesn't exist. So therefore you're accusing, through the vast majority of the content of your video, anyone who's got an interest in this subject of being delusional. Whereas my point of view is these are interesting experiences, and there's more to them. But what that it can possibly be and what they can possibly mean, we don't know, and we never will know because we don't know enough. I'll carry on with your message. But rather, if these two causes could have anything to do with some alien or anything of that matter, like the singing dog I once saw, experiences, I really just wanted your opinion. I was not expecting your answer. Well, unfortunately, this is the internet. People do provide answers. There is a conversation happening 24 hours a day and 7 days a week here. Okay. But when it comes to the experience of an alien, I was not saying in my first video that I necessarily assumed that there was some kind of alien presence. I wasn't saying that aliens were actually involved in the alien experience. I was saying the experience of the aliens were real, which was, in fact, the subject of the video. The experiences were real. Whether aliens are real or not, that's another subject for discussion altogether. But the experiences were real. I'll carry on with your message. I had worked in a mental asylum. I know as I worked along medication neurologists and psychologists, what you consider irrational is a reality. The reason why I ask this is because there's usually no consistency with what they describe during the many alien encounters. You wouldn't expect two people who'd witnessed the same car crash to have total consistency either. So that's a non-argument, and it's also irrational to use that as being some form of evidence against anything, really, isn't it? So I'm not quite sure what you're saying there. Remember, my point is that the experiences of the aliens are real. Whether aliens are real or not, sod it. I don't care, I don't know, I don't really give a shit, to be quite frank. But the experiences, which are similar to the experiences of spirits and the rest of it, which is what I mentioned in my first video, I think, these things happen. And I'm not talking about the kind of people who are locked up in lunatic asylums who are having very real, as it were, experiences of aliens. I do actually know a schizophrenic chap who was, when he has his episodes, the aliens were as real as you or I. You know, they're like that to him. You know, just as real as this table or, you know, my razor. Just that real, solid, almost physical. And they hurt him using lasers in his delusional mind. Okay, but these are real experiences, real things. But I'm not talking about that type of experience. Alright, do you see where I'm coming from there? I'm not talking about the total dopamine muck-up in the brain. Because that's only one type of experience, but that's not even what I'm trying to cover. Right. In my video, I mentioned some medical cases of real medical conditions. The first one was a real case of a young girl who thought to be demonized died, and the matter went to court. Person on a bus talking to the wind is a mental condition. A Beautiful Mind movie is based upon a character with another mental condition. A book of Rev and Jung are really an argument that the mind can project things that aren't really there to healthy people too. Well, as I said, individual cases don't mean anything. Okay, the individual cases may talk about the individual cases, but they don't talk about anything bigger and better than that. Okay, the message goes on. In your video, The Wisdom of the Skeptic, I agree on your elaboration. Yes, it is a logical fallacy and there are many facets. So there you have it. Don't get so worked up next time. P.S. I'm not a skeptic. Okay. Thank you very much. I think that there are still areas in which you need to improve in your explanations. I think that's something you need to think about and focus on. I would say that I'm going to carry on getting worked up because I'm the kind of person who, when I see something which is, or appears to be, or is expressed like an attack against me, I'm going to react against it in a very vehement manner, because I do. Okay, predominantly because that's often the best way, and being peaceful, being non-assertive, when there's something which is a objective fallacy or untruth or injustice, doesn't work. Okay, because we're in the real world, and in the real world you have to use real debating tactics or real argumentation tactics sometimes. But there you have it. That's my take upon what you said. Thank you for clearing the air. Do think about the things which I've said, and I look forward to doing another video shortly. Bye for now.